welcome. I'm Himanshi Tiwari, and welcome to the Talent Mindset, hashtag Talent and Talks, where the evolving world of work takes center stage. The Economic Times and LinkedIn have joined forces to bring you this exclusive series of industry dialogues and fireside chats. In today's rapidly evolving workplace, organizations are rethinking how they attract, engage, and nurture talent. As technology continues to reshape industries, building a strong talent mindset has become essential for driving growth and innovation. In this episode of Hashtag Talent and Talks, the Talent Mindset Dialogue series, we are excited to have Adil Mane, Chief Human Resources Officer, Corporate at Raymond Limited, and Varun Mathur, Regional Head of LinkedIn Talent Solutions, West India, join us for an insightful conversation on the changing dynamics of talent management. And from the importance of diversity in recruitment to the role of digital platforms in building an employer brand, today's session will dive deep into the strategies that forward thinking organizations are using to stay competitive in the talent marketplace. We'll also explore how fostering a modern learning culture, particularly in the age of AI, is essential for staying ahead in a multi generational workforce. So let's get started. On that note, let's start with our fireside chat that everyone is waiting for. So, Varun, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Himanshi. And Adil, sir, again, thank you so much for making time for this. Really looking forward to our conversation. I think we'll kick it off with a lot of where the theme is on talent mindset. And what does talent mindset really mean for you? And how do you kind of permeate it through your executive teams and into the culture of your organization at Raymond?
I think talent mindset for me is basically an aspect which is very critical and fundamental to the organization. I think what we believe at Raymond is that talent is the differentiator for performance in the organization. And that's where we talk about talent mindset. And I think that's one thing which we so dearly hold to our hearts as a leadership team and across. The fact and the issue of the fact that it's not that the mindset is at the topmost level, but it's permeating across the organizations because there's a lot of ecosystem that we've developed around this. There's a lot of processes and programs that we've developed, which is actually making this talent mindset kind of actually fructify into action and therefore deliverables for the business. The fact that we have structured interventions on talent shows that this organization does have a talent mindset, and actually we value because all of the leadership team makes sure that enough and more time is given to talent processes, talent programs, which actually help them develop the required talent for today and for tomorrow. I think one of the reasons that we are also doing this particular piece on talent is that there's a firm belief in the organization that talent is the differentiator. And I'm just repeating myself because there's more and more emphasis on that particular aspect. Also, you can buy machinery, you can buy many things, plants, you can buy land, etc. But what you can't probably retain and grow and develop and help the organization grow is the talent piece. That is why we personally feel that talent is a key differentiator for us.
Just digging deeper on the talent mindset for your organization as well. And you spoke about how crucial it is for any organization, for people being one of their biggest assets, because you can get manufacturing facilities, you can get capital, all of that, but people are almost over the years, how have you seen this evolve, and how has this been something consistently driven through your organization for an organization celebrating its centenary year?
I think over the years, the very fact that we are in the centenarian is testament to the fact that we actually look at talent and some of the aspects very dearly and very, very closely. Very few organizations within India which have survived and thrived like us into our 100th year. So that's a big deal for us. There are processes, systems around some of these aspects which we have actually dealt and kind of implemented over a period of years. If you look at, we have different offerings at various levels, different cohorts. So we have the talent transformation, the transformation leadership program, the emerging leaders program, the future leaders program. These are basically cohorts of talent that we have actually sized within the organization across the group, which actually helps develop and manifest the talent philosophy and talent approach that we have for the organization into practice, and therefore dividends in the long run for growth and internal mobility of the talent within the organization. So there is a lot of thing that lot of issues that we actually look at. So there are structures which are built within the organization. The talent gets reviewed at the highest most level, which we call the talent review board. So there are talent review boards which are there for the from an ecosystem standpoint, which actually evaluates these programs, the effectivity and effectiveness of this program, and helps us actually give feedback and help us develop some of these things. So the very structured approach that we follow, because the very fact that the C-suite, a lot of CEOs and the functional group functional heads actually get involved in talent discussions is a testament to the fact that here's an organization which actually looks at some of these things very, very closely and dearly to actually take it to the next level.
Love that. And there must be so much intricacy for an organization like Raymond, again, being a diversified group across, let's say, engineering, real estate, retail. How are you navigating and the ability to attract and hire talent from such a dynamic talent pool as as the workforce keeps evolving through generations, work from home, remote, hybrid, etc. How are you navigating that change for the org?
It's not a navigate. It's not nothing to do with navigating. It actually comes very, very naturally to us because working in a conglomerate and actually leading conglomerates, the fact that you will have different segments of talent that we need to attract. So there is, of course, at the group level, we have one approach to talent management as a process. But within this thing, so there, each of the business has a different offering. And basically, when we develop or craft the EVP, the very fact that we've survived and thrived, again, I'm repeating myself, but survived and thrived for 100 days is a great testament to the fact that there is something great that's happening in this organization. Therefore, people are joining and actually being with us for a very, very long time. We actually have a lot of internal systems which actually forms the base for what we want to develop externally as well. Like we have processes like the Raymond Way of Life, where we actually bring communities of people across. Like we have a runners club, we have a music club, we have a dance club. So we offer to people something beyond work, right? We offer to people something which is not just their 9 to 5 role, but how do I make this workplace a very exciting, very nurturing workplace, along with the talent program. So there's a holistic, wholesome approach that we have for talent growth, development, and retention. So it means that we're not just looking at one side of people, we are looking at a holistic approach to how we actually engage the length and breadth of the organization, from millennials to Gen Zs to maybe baby boomers, etc. So I think there is offering which is there for all generations, so to speak. So that actually helps us to retain, grow, and develop our processes. What is more important philosophically, branding, etc. We do, and we use some of your processes through LinkedIn and all that. But typically, it's also that what we speak outside has to be spoken inside. So there is a kind of congruence between what we project outside and what is actually happening. So we don't want a situation that we just brand for the sake of branding, but there's nothing happening internally. So therefore, a lot of care is taken to make sure that what we are talking outside is actually replicated inside in the organization.
So again, the EVP and employer value proposition is so strong internally, and Raymond is a brand we all have some memory of. It's such a strong brand in our country. So having said that, how have you used, let's say, digital platforms or formats such as LinkedIn and others to kind of scale your EVP or employer brand or leadership voice? And what role have digital platforms played in that maybe?
So we do utilize social media platforms to actually, and especially more so LinkedIn than any others, to actually kind of showcase what we are doing internally, what's happening great internally. Also, we get a share of voice from the market by using some of the other listening posts that we have currently utilized that are available in the marketplace, which actually helps us to listen to what our employee speak is about and take course corrective actions. Also, internally, if you are aware, we actually use a listening bot internally in one of our verticals, which actually helps us dive deep into and help us understand sentiments of people and help us continuously listen across the value chain of the employee life cycle. So what is he saying when he's onboarded? What is he saying when he's on the job? What is he saying when he's getting exited? So that's something which we utilize. Also, we utilize a lot of work to actually do exit analysis for us in terms of when they move out, and we don't do it internally, we do it outsource it to a third party. So there's a fair, unbiased kind of an approach to get an insight as to why people have, if they have left, why they have left, etc. What are the reasons? And therefore, a lot of course corrective action takes place for us thereafter. So there are many forums, both externally, internally. So building a brand is a kind of it's kind of a continuous element where we actually build brands through social media externally, and also build a brand for our employees within, so that there are right experiences that we give to our employees. So I think the whole promise and philosophy is to make sure that the employee experience, when he's getting hired, when he's within the organization, when he's getting exited, is plain and simple, very, very consistent. And the messaging from an employee experience perspective is very, very consistent, therefore. So that's the whole aspect. And I think we believe in the fact that we are here to drive employee experiences, and therefore that's a great cornerstone for us to drive our brands both internally and externally.
What I love about everything I'm hearing, Adil sir, is the fact that there's such an emphasis on the experience of employees internally rather than a projection externally. And it's actually a very controlled methodological way of looking at internal customers, employee satisfaction, which is then being resonated externally through
Yeah.
digital platforms. Another important part, and something I know which is crucial to you. Yeah.
So about very one fact that we are a great place to work certified in a couple of verticals that we have. I think it's a testament to the fact that we are doing something which is right for us to actually figure out in those listings, etc.
No, absolutely. And I think that's a great segue into something I know which is really important to you and something that's top of mind. And also aligns with your employee experience of you investing into your talent and upskilling them and reskilling them. So with the current AI and ML boom that's happening in the world and how it's changing the way we work, how are you focused on kind of driving a learning culture within your org across these diverse organizations?
Yeah, I think the learning culture is driven, and it's very core and pivotal for us to develop and retain and grow our employees, right? So there are a couple of things that we have done internally. One is, of course, we have something called the Raymond University, under which we have the function schools of manufacturing, supply chain, and all the entire disciplines that we are actually looking at. This is basically to hone the functional skills of people. At the leadership level, when we talk of leadership development, we have the Future Leaders Program, the Emerging Leaders Program, and the Transformation Leaders Program addressing needs of different cohorts. So that's where the leadership program gets covered, and the function school. So it's kind of a thing that we're looking at. So how do you actually develop not just the talent cohorts, but beyond that, anyone who is interested to grow and develop? There are these offerings that we have. The second thing that we have done very, very critically is actually have built up a career path internally on our HR platform that we have, which actually helps people to know exactly where he or she can grow in the organization. We have mapped the functional competence. We have a Raymond leadership competency as well as the functional competencies of people. We have mapped that on that particular portal. So I know if I am, say, an HR manager, for example, and he wants tomorrow to be a CHR, what's the path that he or she can take? There is a complete understanding for an employee who joins us, who can then take X number of interventions on learning. You can, what are the career movements that he or she could have, which will help him guide to the next level. So this is something which is made visible for our employees in one of the verticals, and which will help drive this entire thing through a digital platform, digital medium. Also, a lot of work that we are currently undertaken to look at AI ML based approaches to actually identify skills required for today and for the future. So what's my skill gap? Therefore, the systems would throw up some of these aspects. So we will be getting understanding of what is needed to actually develop for the future roles. And that will be driven by some of the AI interventions that we are actually looking at. Also, the other part is that a lot of data analytics is getting utilized in our place. We've actually building up a data lake where through analytics, etc., we will try and make sure that some of the insights that are important from data are going to be getting captured on an ongoing and an online basis for an executive leadership to have a dashboard kind of thing to look at where my talent is from various matrices, so to speak.
One of the top things for any organization which is implementing a lot of these programs is how you measuring outcomes on this and how you driving like adoption. And so would love to maybe get your perspective on that so that the larger team can hear
Very
us.
clearly, and some of the programs, I think the functional school or even the talent programs and talent cohorts that we have, a lot of things are delivered through what you typically call as action learning projects.
Mm.
When the talent cohort goes through a series of interventions from a learning dimension standpoint, they come back after those interventions of 8, 9 months, and they actually have to uh, take up some of the learning projects or projects which have importance for the organization. So they could be business projects. There are these must wins, as we call them, which are important for business growth, business development, etc. So typically, these are projects which are live projects, which some of the cohort will take in either as individuals or as cohorts, which will help us drive to understand whether the learning transfer of learning has happened on the job or not. And that's one of the very critical methodology that we use to actually get and help to understand what is the kind of effectiveness or effectivity of some of the interventions that we're doing on learning. So this is an integral part of the talent cohort development programs that we have, which I just mentioned some time back.
I think the last question I would add to just kind of supplement this is AI and ML has come in over the last couple of years in true public and organizational thought. How do you see this kind of transforming the way your organization's approaching employer branding, attracting talent, as well as learning and development today? What kind of efficiencies, and do you think it's still early adoption, or you think this is very much part of what HR should be thinking about and working our HR communities today?
I I think data analytics as a topic is not very new now. Of course, this is something which has been there, but I don't know how many organizations have really started implementing. While it's only a speak for seminars and programs of some kind externally, but there are few organizations which actually done some great amount of work. So I think organizations will have to really take and understand their data map their technology HR technology map and help them understand what do you want out of the technology piece. Is it just a what do you call the what do you a system of just managing basics, or it is actually going to deliver something to the next level in terms of analytics, etc. So that is something which each organization will have to take cognizance of. But I think in our case, we have kind of sized of this matter much earlier. And I think as I spoke, there's a lot of preparation that has happened creating those data lakes. Also a lot of analytics we actually started utilizing. We have built models around for identifying attrition to some of the AI models and ML models that we have in operation. So that is something which we probably need to look at, which we look at very closely.
So, thank you, gentlemen, for this insightful conversation that we had today. And as we conclude this insightful session of hashtag Talent and Talks, the Talent Mindset Dialogue series, it's clear that the future of talent management is centered around agility, diversity, and continuous learning, of course. And Adir sir and Varun have given us a deep dive into how organizations like Raymond are adapting to the evolving landscape, leveraging data, digital platforms, AI, and other innovative strategies to attract and retain top talent. We've learned that cultivating a talent mindset is more than just a business strategy. It's a necessity for thriving in today's competitive environment. And by embracing diversity, building a strong employer brand, and fostering a culture of modern learning, organizations can stay ahead of the curve and drive meaningful growth. Adir sir also spoke about engaging employees beyond work and giving that sort of employee experience. There's an internal emphasis on employee satisfaction and experience. So yeah, I mean, feels like heaven, feels like Raymond. So thank you to our guests, Adhir Mane and Varun Mathur, for sharing their invaluable insights, and to our audiences for tuning in. We hope today's discussion sparks new ideas as you navigate your own talent strategies. Until next time, let's continue building a future-ready workforce.